So what a farmer then has been taught by his or her commodity group that the response to that line of thinking is, well, there's natural mutations that happen in the tens of thousands all the time during regular sexual reproduction of plants, or that our process of mutagenesis and F1, that sort of combination, the 1-2 of mutation and then F1 selection, also produces potentially hundreds and thousands of unintended consequences, and that we've always lived with them. So there's nothing new or unusual about these unintended consequences.
So people did make that argument. And there's several issues. One is no mutagenic procedure normally makes changes on that scale. So we're talking about major rearrangements of the genome sometimes. And those kinds of changes and the number of changes, and especially in combination, are unprecedented. And the second issue is that when you breed a GMO, you also have to do conventional breeding, right? So GMO breeding is imposed on the top of conventional breeding. The companies will still take that transgenic event and they will put it into 50 different soybean varieties. They will still do their conventional breeding and they'll take germplasm from all different places. So what the kind of mutations and genetic damage that we're talking about is imposed on top of whatever traditional breeding methods.
So it's not an either or. You actually have a multiplier effect of potential unintended consequences. So, my reaction to that often is, I wish we would be testing on the products of mutagenesis in the way that we are asking to be testing for all novel foods. But that I'm hearing you really clearly that there's the mutagenesis set of events, and then, you stack on top of that whatever unintended consequences happened in the GMO process. So now you have two pieces of disruption that are stacked rather than one piece of disruption or the other.
Yeah. But also mutagenesis is not something that people do all the time. Most corn breeding is done with natural germplasm taken from Peru across with germplasm from Mexico, and then they use those as the parents to develop, to integrate, to do all these genetic manipulations, right? So there are certain crops on which some mutation breeding has been done with X-rays and chemical mutagens, but this is not something that really happens all the time and is a major part of plant breeding. But it does happen, but it's not a major focus of plant breeding. So
yeah, because I think that comes along as another one of those myths of the science that I think the companies like to keep us confused about how difficult or intricate plant breeding is as a science, when really tens of thousands of years it's more of an art, and creating this idea that modern plants come from mutagenesis rather than through biopiracy, which is maybe another conversation for another time.
Yeah.